One of the most fascinating things that I found in all of the tours that I've done is that there's four different design styles. There's eclecticore, there's cleancore, there's cluttercore, and then there's practicore. The next person that I'm about to visit is probably one of the founding members of the Practicore class. As she said it best during the last time that I've been to her plot, it just makes sense. And that was a common theme throughout her entire build. We're about to go head on over there right now. Get your thumbs ready for a big old like for this video, and I'll see you when we get there. So I'm here with Lady Edith, and like I mentioned before, I have not seen this plot before. But Lady Edith, how you doing today?
I'm doing really well.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, you're a veteran tour guide, but you know the drill. Where we're going?
Yes. So I want before we go in, I think I need to provide a little bit of context. So I was looking back, and I had scheduled this back in March,
Yeah.
at the end of March, and there have been 4 updates to the game since then. So what I ended up with, I think you're gonna see as we go. I didn't want to change the plot, right? I had finished it. So what you're gonna see as we go is me filling in the corners, probably in a way that isn't normally my style.
Oh yeah.
Because I was just waiting. And so I had all this cool stuff come in to fill in the corners with. So the theme for the plot in general is the Adventurers Guild base. So I kind of
Sweet.
started off with that idea, and kind of expanded it out in lots of ways. And the first thing we come across here, we got to be a little quiet.
Oh.
They're having a meeting.
Oh yes, yes, yes. The Council of Sills.
Try not to, yes, I try not to disturb them too much.
Wow.
But yeah,
Six.
yeah, the gang's all here.
I know, right? 10 of them. That is wild.
Yes, yeah. I haven't had that's all. I think they changed the how often you get them, but yeah, so then over here we have quick cooking station for so the whole thing, like I said, is adventurers coming in and out.
Oh
So this
yeah.
is for those people who just need a quick, like, just cook their things, hang out for a little bit, and then run back out.
That's cool.
And then we have this outdoor kitchen with the pavilion. So
Ooh.
this is a functional kitchen. I did cook out here, I think twice. Was kind of fun to cook out here instead of inside.
Yeah. That is really cool. I like that.
Um,
I like
so
the
this is one
little
of those things
mat here too.
I had this built, back in March, and I barely touched it. So this has kind of been here the whole time because I really, really liked how it was. So we will actually come back this way
Okay.
into the gazebo. Um, this is
Oh.
my this is my pride and joy,
Ooh.
right
Yeah,
here.
tell me about it.
I finally got just like 2 weeks ago, I think, maybe even a week ago. I finally got the last starred bug. So this
Oh.
is my entire collection of starred bugs. Um,
That's
and
gotta be
those
so
who watched
satisfying, like,
my
the collection is
it is,
complete.
it is. Those who watched my previous tour may remember that I really, really was like, I like the doing the bug thing. So this was a really big moment for me to do that. So and I just love how this turned out. Like the vibe in
Yeah,
here is
I love it too.
exactly that.
It's cool that,
Uh,
like, people have taken the aspect of, different parts of the game, like, for example, bug catching or fishing, and they've turned it into, like, a study area. So,
mhm.
yeah, they're all just they got plenty of room to breathe out here with their
Oh yeah.
friends.
Yep. All right. Then we will go into this first building. So this building here is the we'll call it like the guild chapter house, I guess would be the best way to put it. So sort of like the
Sweet.
central house for the guild.
Ooh, sight lines. Oh, that's cool. I
So
like
this is
how
the
you have
formal
this
sort of
nice.
sitting. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you have, the seating arrangement just kind of in a almost it's asymmetrical, but it's balanced.
Hmm.
That's really
Hmm.
cool.
I always find this first room in the house to be a little tricky, especially when you've got all the rooms, going off in all directions.
Yeah.
Um, I always find like it's almost when you start to place furniture, you kind of put something down and realize that that's the right spot. Like you get that like gut feeling, like oh yeah, that's where that belongs. and then it
You
all kind of
know,
goes from there.
I'm gonna quote you on this, but it just makes sense.
It does. It really does. And then so this is like the more like private little area here. This was actually the very first on the entire plot. This was the first thing I did. It's
That's really
from
cool.
and yeah.
Yeah, because
I
you
really like how this came out.
you take something like this and I like it. Even though you told me it was the first one decorated, it doesn't feel that way. It honestly feels
Mhm.
like this central area was the anchor, and then you added the
Yeah,
side areas.
it's because 'cause I'm
Ooh,
good at this. No.
yeah, there you go. Confidence.
Yeah, so here's the big, central dining area, sort of a come as you go. So I have the dishes over here, and anybody can kind of come and go and eat as they
I
want.
I like this. Most people they have, long tables, but this is very conducive to conversation, just the big square
Hmm.
table and that I since you've given me the context of it being the Adventurers Guild, I think that's really cool that this is just like, I don't know, I feel like a whole bunch of people would come in and out with like steins of mead and, drink and talk and then
Right.
be
Yeah.
on their way.
Come and go. Come as you are. Yeah. Another little spot I love is just sort of like a private, like if you need to come and kind of do some business, on your own and have a little
It's a
spot to think.
business center. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, and then here's my plaque for the bugs, the special bugs was in here, so
Yes.
yeah.
You just plug into the Wi-Fi and be on your merry way.
Right, exactly, exactly. And then the kitchen. I love the way this kitchen came out.
I do
I
too.
I
It's
really
such
I
a
love to cook in it.
yeah, it's such a nice and efficient kitchen.
Mhm.
I
When
think
I
it's so
when I
cool how
go to cook
people
something
yeah.
sorry. When I go to
n-
cook something, because there's multiples of everything in here, because it is, a functional cooking, for the recipes we need. The
Right.
whole room just fills with the bubbles of all the stuff. Like it just completely fills because it's so compact.
But I mean, you got
Um,
everything that you need here to just kind of get
yeah.
some things prepped and bounce around, and that is nice. I mean,
Mhm.
that's cool.
And
Oh
then of course
yeah.
I have to have a pantry.
Yes. I
Of
love
course.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Got
really
everything you
like how
need.
this came out. Yeah. And
I
something I
just
noticed about myself, that when I do something, I have a tendency on the one side of the room, everything is neat and orderly. And then on the other side of the room, things are a little bit more haphazard. And I noticed that that's a trend of mine, as I've been building things that I just kind of do that. Like there's always, or I like always put the rugs off center.
yeah.
Like there's these habits that I think, and the longer you build, the more you just sort of develop your own language.
Yeah, no,
I've noticed that.
that's really cool. It's cool that you've noticed that, and I think that the videos serve a purpose to that degree. Like, I know not everybody has more than one tour. Sometimes we'll have people that have had multiple speed tours, and you can see the progression as you kind of continue. And I I think that it's really cool that because there are some things that are functional, like cooking areas and everything. This particular space, like you have the extra bottles and everything to kind of say, this is my pantry, this is my storage space. It's 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 functional to me. It doesn't necessarily have any function within the game other than just this is like an addition to the story that I've created. I think that's super cool.
Right. Yeah. So I was about to say storytelling part.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we come to the back, and then we can go into the garden.
Ooh.
This was one of those things that the way that it was when I first signed up for the tour was completely different than the way that it is now, and I'm glad that I changed it.
Yeah.
So the entry to Bahari was coming when I started this plot. So I
Mm.
already knew that I needed to kind of have this backside.
Yeah.
So I worked really hard to try to get the well, so that I could kind of have the garden back on the backside of the plot.
And
And I'm
it
really glad
takes
that I did
everybody
that.
right now. It's just like, I imagine people are thinking, oh man, they see one of those big natural rocks that just like the the reserve that you had to have not
Yes.
to just whack it, because
Yeah. I think I still have 3 still up, that they are so precious.
I know, right? I know.
Um, and then, so I've got my little seed makers over here, and then inside the tent, I have my, jam what are they called? Preserve jars in
Yeah,
the worm farms.
this is where you have your jamboree.
Right. It was fun to figure out how to get this to work, like the space, like so that it was interesting, but
Yeah.
still functional and fit everything that I needed it to. Um,
And
I really
that's
like how this came out.
one of the things that I personally am fascinated with too, is like we start out with the tent and then many people just kind of abandon it over time, but when you revisit it and you're like, you know what, this actually is kind of a useful space that I can use for crafting, and then you take the elements like you did and you turned it into something completely more evolved than just
Right.
a civil
Yeah.
space.
Yeah, and I've seen several other people have kind of that same like, let's elevate this, and I really took inspiration from that.
Yeah.
Um, so I mentioned the Bahari entry, so that's here. I just got just some decorations um here to kind of make that thematic.
This is
And of
really
course there's
cool.
an outhouse.
As I'm kind of walking around, you have things laid out in a way that uh I want to say it's disorienting in a good way, because if I didn't look at my compass, everything here just kind of jives so well together the way that it's
Mhm.
rotated and everything, that I would have never
Mhm.
guessed that this feels like the back of your plot, right? And
Yeah.
that speaks a lot to your balance in your design. Just wanted to point
Good.
that out.
Before before we go, we're gonna go back around
Okay.
the side of the house because I do have a little area tucked back here. Just this little spot back here. So I figured we'd
Oh,
come see it now. I didn't know what to do with this guy. I tried
and you
tried putting
know,
him several places, but
I don't know what to do with Frogbird either. And now we have an additional size.
yes. Yeah. I think the additional size might honestly still be in my storage. I like Frogbert. I don't have a problem with Frogbert. He's a very specific thing.
Yes. Yes.
So he's back here stargazing. That's his role back
He's been
here.
stargazing for quite some time. He needs to get his eyes checked out.
True. It's all right. We'll come back this way. So we passed by this little area here. This is just like coming back from Bahari. You're starving. You don't want to think about it. Go ahead and grab a
I
bowl and
I want to point out that like you have the pavers spaced out evenly, as opposed to just flush against each other. I think that's a really
Mhm.
cool look, especially for an outdoor area, because it feels natural to have grass like growing in between, those kind of tiles.
Or through the tiles, as the
Yeah,
case
through
may
the
be,
tiles. Yeah,
where I
right.
happen to be
Yeah.
standing.
Gotta go
Okay,
check your
so this
supplier for those pavers. Might be a little
right,
defective.
they're special. They're special order.
Yeah, right.
Um, so this I'll let you go into this one first. So this is
Okay.
more of like the casual adventures building. So where the other one was more formal, this one's much more casual. So we
Ooh,
begin in the basically the bar, the tavern.
this is awesome.
And I got lucky. I got lucky with Zeki's wheel.
It
Actually the only 2 coins I've been able to score got me that. And I was
yes.
like, "Yes."
That's good luck. That's good luck.
Yes.
It's ironic that this particular room feels like it's more casual, because Capital Chic feels more formal, but the way that you have it
Mhm.
arranged here, you've kind of dressed it down a little bit, to where it
Mhm.
still feels casual, because you have lots of the other elements here, and just I particularly like how you've mixed the colors and the chairs with the more rustic looking tables, because
Mhm.
that gives it a nice like, it kind of softens it up, because I mean, let's face it, right? Capital Sheet can be a little cold in
Yes.
certain cases, but
Yeah.
you've done well with that.
Thank you. So this is then this is where the adventurers get their plans and their they talk about their adventures and they figure out what they're going to do next. And so I had a lot of fun with this one, just loading it up with the trinkets, I guess is the best way to put it. So
Yeah,
all of the like the urns and stuff, like the things that felt like special that didn't really have any other place is whenever I got something like that from a quest or whatever, I knew, oh, I know exactly what room that goes in.
that's cool. That's really cool. Not too many people have that ability. Um, some people just, what do I do with this thing? But that's cool just to
Mm.
have that. You're like, I know exactly where you're gonna go. Are
Yeah.
you portraying the tabletop game as sort of like kind of like a war map in a way where you have the little pieces, wooden pieces that are
Um,
carved? It's like this is where we're moving into position. We're gonna flank on this
Not
side.
exactly like that, but
Okay.
yeah, it was kind of like a plan, like because it was at the time, of course, now we've got some other items that would work better, but yeah, that sort of like planning, not
Gotcha.
necessarily like a war thing, but definitely that sort of
Yeah.
planning aspect.
Planning, we're gonna
Um,
take this trail.
yeah, like this, like you can imagine it being like a 3D map of Bahari.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I got you.
yeah, yeah.
Topographical.
Yes, yeah. So then we go into the workroom
Oh yeah. It's hard
and
work. You gotta get your meal on, you know?
oh yeah, they're not supposed to have food back here. I gotta find out who
Oh,
did that.
it's a safety hazard, you know, all
It
the
is, it
fumes and
really is. You
everything.
never know what might fall into it. Right,
Right?
exactly. Yeah,
Get sawdust on your
I
soup. I mean, adds protein
the
or
little
something.
this is little bathroom. I kinda like how it came out. It
I do
was,
too.
I didn't know
It's
what to do with that
it's so
curio.
it's so compact and like you got your you got your lamp, your vent, you got a little wash area. I mean, that's
What more do you need?
what more do you need? You got everything you need. That's
Right,
awesome.
yeah. And then this is just like an extra little work room, storage room area.
I
Um,
like how you dressed it up, especially with that kind of industrial light bulb. It's so
mhm,
functional.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. So, my core is Practicore.
Yes.
Um, so one of the things with this whole plot is I do use it. It's not aesthetic. I'm running around to this workbench all the time. This is one of two on the plot.
Yeah.
Um, so I just this happens to be in like really good spot. Like it's so instinctive for me to come running over here when I need to craft something. So
If you're gonna be one thing, be efficient, you know?
right, yeah. Um, So I was actually really happy when they introduced the pavers because forever these were just sitting out in the grass. And so as
Yeah.
soon as they introduced the pavers, I was like, this was the first thing I knew what to use them for. I was like, yeah, I know, I need that.
I like that
And
too
then,
because it fills in kind of the gap of, hey, I have a space that I need to put some kind of a like flooring down, but I can't obviously use the
Mhm.
flooring that's in the game. So for an outdoor
Yeah.
space, it works. It works really well. And it matches the
And
brick that you chose just right across the way in this pavilion.
I actually have to credit my mom. She had mentioned that they were a really good match, and I tried it myself, and I was like, "Yep, good, perfect, leaving it." So
Do
this I didn't
you
really know what this was.
what
I wanted to build this, but I was
oh,
like,
the
I guess
hand?
it's maybe just like yeah, it's just like what well, this whole thing,
Oh,
this
okay.
area. I was like, I wanted to build it, because I had the space. So this is I guess we could say that this is like an additional area for people to kind of come and spend more time in.
Right.
It's not necessarily a functional kitchen here. It's more just like a wash spot with goods and stuff. But I wanted to use the building blocks. So this is kind of what came out of that desire to build
Maybe
with those and do something
this
with
is
it.
like the I feel like this is like a more experimental kitchen area. Maybe these are
Yeah.
different attempts at like at recipes or something, and
Hmm.
they have to age the different drinks for a certain time to see if they have the right consistency and flavor profiles.
Maybe.
And yeah,
Yeah,
it's just kind
it's
of where
like the
my
test
brain went.
kitchen.
Test
Yeah, it's
kitchen,
the test
exactly.
kitchen. Yeah, yeah, that works for me. We'll go with it.
Or it
It's the
could be
test
different,
kitchen.
types of things for the, industrial machinery. It's like because they're adventures. I mean, yeah, there's all kinds
Sure.
of things you can use. If y'all are, I want to
Yeah,
know. I'm just gonna say this right now. I want y'all that are watching this right now, put what you think it should be in the comments on the video. We'll check it out.
yeah, yes.
Ah, this is
This is
this
a
is total lounge area. You got your
yeah,
drink,
definitely.
got your horn, got your loot, have the pet that will
Yeah.
not go away everywhere.
Oh, I did put the other frog here. He's spotting he's right around the corner here. He's peeping
Ah,
on us.
yeah.
I did
Yeah.
find a spot for him.
I want to say that out of this the last couple of updates, the building blocks have been absolutely revolutionary. The
Oh,
fact that you
definitely.
created like a 2-level pavilion area here, and you got the ramps, you got the planks to kind of step up on this. It has been just so incredibly impressive how people have just taken their spaces and they've been painting with Palia, just whatever they want to
Hmm.
make, fill in the gaps with whatever they need.
Right. I think it's a for me, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but I really
Yes.
do. I don't necessarily have the best ideas to start, but once I get going, I really do. I feel like it's be fun. Like I just enjoy trying to see what I can do
And
with the pieces.
I understand that. Like given your design core, right? Practicore is all about efficiency and finding things that work the right way. But when you have something
Mhm.
like the building blocks that's so freeform, it can be a bit of a struggle because I personally would be like analysis paralysis. Uh,
Mhm.
I you know,
Right. Yeah. I know one of the things that I'd said on one of my previous tours was that idea of like working within the limitations.
yes,
And the building blocks extend those limitations almost exponentially. So it's
yes,
sometimes a little difficult. Yeah.
yeah. This is
Um,
your outdoor cooking area. Nice, catching
yeah,
up, getting
this
my
is just like
bearings.
another little yes, this is just another we are now in the front corner, whichever corner we're looking at. It's, if you're
I
looking at the
know.
plot, we're in the front right corner.
Yes.
Um, we've worked our way back around. I did, the thing is I'm not one for glitching. I'm I struggle with that too. I was like, I'm not sure when to glitch and when not to glitch and all of that.
Oh
I
yeah,
did try to
understandable.
do a dock. I did actually build one out there, and I discovered that as neat as it was, I actually didn't really like it. Like it was like it didn't seem. It was like I don't really need that, so I took it all down.
This
Took out all
does
the
not
work.
compute with my design core. It's coming down.
Right, something like that. All right, so we're gonna go to the front of the um, main house here, and tuck our way through
Excellent.
here. And then we are coming into so this area here is more like my as the proprietor of this area is sort of more like um my area, my sort
Your
of
area.
it's
Yeah.
not necessarily private, like it's still, publicly available to the guild members, but it's where I kind of have my stuff.
Right. They respectfully keep their distance because, it's just polite.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
That's really cool. I have mentioned this before, but I really think it's fun for me when we're doing tours and we have this narrative for the plot that is being made, and then we get to the this is my space, and now this is kind of like, in my opinion, like this is where you have really express yourself. It's like the rest of the plot amazing, it's like on the Lady Edith scale, it's like on an 8, and this is like your spot. This is like where we dial it up to 11.
Oh, I hope so. I hope inside. I really do think inside it is. Definitely.
Yeah, and I
Um,
again I want to comment on the like the balance that we have, just kind of how you have this as you walk into the plot, we went onto this other area and now this is your area. We didn't even see this, so it just kind of has like a an angled entrance into the house. So yeah, I'm
mhm.
excited to go check it out. Already, did you already go in?
I'm not. I'm actually behind you. You can go ahead and go in.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't want to barge in without you.
Oh, that's fine.
Ah, yes, yes. This is I can see this now as being more of your personality, and it's fun. Like I said, it's fun for me to and everybody else that's watching right now just to kind of see like this is kind of where you are starting to express yourself more. We've had some
Mhm.
tours where people create spaces for NPCs in the kind
Mhm.
of like the mindset of the NPC, and then we get into their area and it looks completely different. And this
Mhm.
we can kind of see like I guess you could say your true self coming out through Palian design.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
get real scientific about it, but it's fun.
Then this is sort of my private work area where the one in the other building was, for everybody to come and use, but this one's
Yeah,
just for me. I really had a lot of fun dividing the space up in
I
different
see
ways,
that. Yeah,
figuring out how to make a doorway without actually putting in a door, like a doorway. That was a lot of fun to figure out, and I really liked the result of that.
it seems very organic. Like this is kind of how you would do it normally, which I,
Hmm.
is it that's practical.
Hmm. Right?
This is really well done. I like the cabinets, just kind of how you everything laid out, and it paints a picture. You're like, this is where I sit and I plan, scooch up the chair and
Hmm.
get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem with this area is sometimes I accidentally go into the one or the other when I since I haven't turned quite enough.
Yeah,
Sometimes
no,
I
I
open the
got
wrong
you.
one, but that
Palians.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we come out the back door here, if you turn around, then you can see my like my
Ah,
loom area, my weaving
yeah.
area.
It's very looming.
It is. Yeah, I had to add 2 more looms because I was getting just so much hide trying to hunt for Cernix, so I just loaded up with hide, and I was like, I gotta get more looms going."
That's cool.
Um, so we do actually
All
have I don't think yeah, I haven't scared him off yet today, so still
they're
sitting over
just
here.
hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get closer. I know that I will, but
Yeah,
I wanted
yep.
to share this awesome looking water feature that you created. That seems very realistic, like it would be a thing. And you got
Yeah,
flowers and stuff.
yeah, this was, like, just loaded up with flowers and let the water run, and I really liked how it came out. I really liked how I was able to kinda tuck it around this
Yeah.
tree thing here. Because this was just kinda sitting here. I had flowers around it, but it just didn't seem like enough. So
It's always such a challenge. Like when we get these kind of elements, the bundle things that we get, and it's like, well, how's that supposed to fit in my space?
mhm.
But
Yeah.
you add decorations around it, and it's fun for me to see how people create. They take something like that and they make a sacred space for it. This
Right.
seems very,
Yeah,
it
it's
feels very revered.
right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed the other one was kinda tucked in next to the between the gazebo and the
Yeah.
I'd already scared the Kitsu away, but,
It's like it was there all along, that's just kind of how
yeah,
those things
yeah.
are. But yeah, tell me about this space. I captured it. It looks really nice and clean.
Yeah, so this is just a tea space or like a just a nice little spot. This is so tucked away from everything else, especially here next to the Silverwing,
Hmm.
that it's just sort of more like a quiet sort of tea spot out there, outdoor cooking slightly. I thought it was so interesting how, and maybe that's the lighting, but how different this oven looks in this setting compared to inside the house or any other setting I put
Right.
it in. It just seems like
Yeah.
it's colored differently almost. Just maybe it's the blue. I don't know.
It could
It
be.
always just kind of looks so different.
It could be. Yeah. And those are some of the things that like I encourage people to experiment with because
Hmm.
everything will look different with different lighting. Even flowers too. Some of the potted flowers, like when you apply light to them directly, they look completely different. It's crazy stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, I noticed that some of the flowers do like light up and like in the dim light, they're almost like they're glowing.
Yeah,
Kind of
exactly.
neat. So this is I felt like something needed to be right here. The edge of the plot is like literally right in like this line on the
Oh,
road.
nice.
Um, but the front of the house, because this is the front, it's you see it as the front. It just felt a little bare. So I got this other bed just the other day actually. And I was like, hey,
Oh,
now I have
nice.
two of those. Why don't I do one of those fun things that like I've seen other people
Yeah.
do?
Big old
So I
lounge
built
area, just bounce from one to
yeah.
the other and then play your lute a little bit, take a drink of, your local brew and
Right, all of
yeah.
the stuff that they're doing from the test kitchen, obviously,
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Got
gotta
to
have some
sample the
place to
merchandise.
yeah, right. Alright, we're gonna go back here into the last area.
All right.
I feel like the plot is so huge, like, it didn't feel like it was that big, but now that we're going through it, it feels huge. So just this little spot here is just like a quick little, target hunting spot.
Nice.
I figured it needed to be forested because most of the
Yes.
time, when you're in Bahari, you're hunting through the trees.
And when we got the
So,
update that like added the trees and the ability to grow them, I think that's such a cool thing that people have created, big canopies and stuff.
mhm,
Ooh,
yeah. So
what
I
do we
call
have
this
over
area
here?
the three tents, this whole area, I call this the encampment. This would be for those adventurers who kinda want a longer stay.
I
They can
see, yeah.
come and claim a room. And then what it was how this came about to begin with was that I had all of this extra furniture that I wasn't using anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, what if I took 2 of the furniture, sets and combined them in one of the tents each? So and
That
then I came
is
up with little, like, silly little names for them. So this is Industranch or or Ranch Dustrial.
yes. That's awesome.
And then the other one, the first one was, Ravenflower because it was Ravenwood and
Ravenflower.
Bellflower furniture
Nice.
flower. And then this one is, Moontide. Uh,
Moontide. Oh,
yeah.
that is so clever. It really, really is clever because, you know, it's easy for people to mix or it's easy for people to have the same colorway and the same furniture style, but this proves that you don't have to. You can use
Mhm.
different furniture styles together and they work really well.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the other thing. I didn't customize anything. So they're all like natural, quote unquote, natural colorways
Yeah,
in this. So yeah.
that's
That was
really
and I
neat.
also had like I decided I was gonna put plushies. I was kind of overflowing with plushies. So I decided they needed to come and so each one of them has their own plushie and
They have
I
like
picked them,
yeah, they match the mood.
thematically. Yeah.
Yeah. I like your use of banners in the different
Hmm.
tents. Just how you've kind of put different banners just to kind of celebrate them in different
Hmm.
ways and I was just like one of the first things I noticed is kind of like your use of banners, at least in the other two.
Yeah, this one, I probably could have put the investigator one in here. Now that you said that, I'll have to go grab it.
It's
And
all
this is
good.
just the last little area. It's just a little laundry area. Oh, actually,
Hey,
there's
I
one more
mean,
thing in the corner, but yeah, got to do your laundry somewhere, right?
yeah, exactly. Extended stay, just take your laundry down to this little water source here, splash it around, then hang it up to dry. Paleo Fresh.
Right. Right. And then the last thing is this little tucked away little. If you're feeling brave and you don't mind prying eyes, you can come
I
come
mean,
and
the
bathe.
adventurers, they're going to be getting to know each other
Right,
anyways, so
right, exactly. I figure you're gonna be that kind of person anyway, so you might as
yeah.
well just bathe outdoors.
So Q&A time, let's get the deets. I mentioned that you are Practicore, and I still feel like that is true. I want to say that like as I've been walking through here and listening to you explain your thought process throughout everything, I want to make a small amendment to that.
Mhm.
I feel like your house design, your Palian house design is Practicore, but you personally are Eclecticore.
Hmm,
As you are
maybe.
expressing yourself through Palia, right? Everything that you put down
Mhm,
is efficient, it makes sense. But when you start, like you had said, I start out by having things orderly and tidy, and then I start to
mhm,
gradually set things up haphazardly, but it's still balanced. That's one of the big
mhm,
things about Eclecticore. It's not always just, hey, I'm going to like throw a bunch of colors and angles at you in geometric shapes. It's more about like the angles. It's not about precision. So it's interesting as I'm walking around and I'm thinking, okay, she's still Practicore. Everything that is put down is put down as Practicore, but there's a
mhm.
little bit of Eclecticore coming out of just like you kind of like moving the needle in that direction. And I thought that was just really fascinating. Um,
I think that that's accurate, and I think that I would be inclined to say originally that, "Oh, well, that's just because I've been cluttering the space up because, I'm just putting more and more stuff in as I play the game." But I even said it when in the pantry that I was doing that anyway.
you were
The
doing it
the
consciously
Yeah,
or
yeah.
subconsciously, you know?
Yeah, I think I was doing it consciously, after a while. I
Yeah.
think actually that was when I noticed it, when I was building that. I was like, "Why? I do that every time." And after that, I was like, yeah, I'm still doing that. I still like in the workshop, like the workshop big room itself is very
Mm,
it's symmetrical and orderly, but
right.
then the next room where the crafting bench is, it's not. It's a little bit more like haphazard, like you say. So
Yeah.
I think that you're right. I think that I mean, maybe it's just I don't wanna be placed in a box. So I wanna be that
Hey.
person that colors outside the lines a little.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
nothing, there's nothing wrong with that too. And
Oh, yeah.
when I just kind of identify these different design styles. It's not to say that people can't evolve over time. It's
Mm,
kind of
mhm,
a this is kind of like the general feeling that I get is there's a lot of logic into how things are placed. And eclecticore is one of those very interesting things because like design styles because like there are uh there are more types of facets to eclecticore because eclecticore is like given the ability to kind of ebb and flow into the different design styles. Like it can be sometimes you can have a little bit of clutter, sometimes you can have it to be like clean, pristine sight lines, and then
mhm.
sometimes it could just be very functional, very logical. So it's not, it I feel like you're kind of um you're evolving basically.
Yeah, I think
It's
that's a great way
awesome.
to put it, and I think because I've been playing the game for, not as long as some people, but for a while now, and,
Yeah.
I think it's and I play every day, and it's definitely it would almost be weird if I wasn't evolving in the way that I relate to the game and in the building, right? Like it
Yeah,
would be weird if I just started with one way and that was the only way I ever did it.
right,
That would be kind
right.
of scary.
I'm gonna go out on a whim here because like I'm thinking like science, right? I'm thinking science because I was alluding to that a little bit earlier. Um, I feel like, all right, roll with me on this one. I feel like if you have one part of your build that is, you know, clean, pristine, orderly, functional, and then you kind of have like another part of the build, maybe even in close proximity, that is a little bit more angular, haphazard, that kind of thing. You have your control and then you have your variable.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's pretty
so you
nerdy,
just like
but
this
yeah.
is you kind of like this is your safe place, and this is where I can experiment and kind of play around with some things, and you're just like, all right, cool, this jives, you know.
Well,
So that
and the other thing is that because of the way, as I'm getting more and more stuff, uh, like there's areas that are a little what's the word, sacrosanct, that
yep,
like the pantry wall, like that ordered pantry wall.
yeah,
In order to place anything more there, I'd have to move things around.
right,
But if I get something and I can place it on that, stack of chests that are kind of kooky anyway, um, and it's a safer place to put it. And it's a little bit like, oh yeah, that's fine. I can just stuff it there, because it'll fit perfectly right there.
yeah,
Um, so it's almost like I'm giving myself, almost like I'm
permission.
kind of giving myself some, yeah, like, or I was going to use the word, like margin. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
giving myself some margin in my builds to, kind of play in the builds without having to play with the things that are perfect. Well, no, I don't want to say perfect, but that
Yeah,
are, ordered. Yeah.
yeah, standard deviation. I'm a
Very
nerd,
nerdy.
sorry. Yeah, I know. No, this is super cool though. This is super cool. This is why I love doing Q&A. And the whole purpose of it is to get to know you a little bit better, to have people that are on the other side of the screen as they're watching the tour understand like your thought process, because there are people that have different levels of experience in Peleus. Some people are starting
Mhm.
out, some people are experienced, and they want to find a different way of thinking, a different way of design. And sometimes, sometimes all it is just like, okay, if I want to be like brutally efficient, I'm using that word very loosely, of course, but like have a logic and purpose to how I place things down. How do I put myself in the mindset of doing that? And
Mhm.
I think that's just, it's cool to explore those kind of things and to kind of understand like your personal thought process a little bit better.
Yeah, I think for me, and I think this has been true on all the tours that we've done, that at the core, I think it's all about the story for me.
Mm. Yeah.
And even, even when it was my very first plot, and that plot was, the story was, I'm a new Palian learning the lay of the land and learning the game, and that was the story that I was building my plot around.
Yeah.
Um and I think when you can marry your the stories that you tell yourself, the lore that you build for yourself, the way that you put yourself into the world
Hmm.
with the style that you use to build, I feel like that's, you're singing. Like synergy
Yeah.
between you and the game. And I seek that as I build my plots out. That feeling of like, yeah, I've done it. I'm telling the story, and I love the way it looks. Like that's the
Absolutely.
moment I go for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sitting down, having a little chat, and I look forward always to kind of see like what you cook up, and those of you who are on the other side of the screen, give this big video a big old thumbs up. Let me know in the comments like what makes you tick. What is your
Mhm.
personal design style, and what'd you think about Lady Edith's? All right. So
Yeah.
I'll see you all for the next one. Until next time. Bye-bye.